Welcome to all. We are now, after the discussing, you just want to recall what we have studied in the first class. We know about mechanics, materials, mechanics of materials, how they are related with the mechanics, how mechanics of material is different than the mechanics, and what are the books we need to discuss. All this part after the discussion, the basic discussion, what are the equilibrium condition, what are the assumptions, all slowly we will get to know regarding analysis. Now, I will start with the stress. The term stress, when I am saying stress, as I said earlier also, in our day to day life also we are different kind of stress. Basically, we are talking about here the engineering stress, not the biological stress or not my mental stress. Not only me, everybody is having stress, and the same stress, all the stress has the similar kind of behavior. And if I will say stress, we know what is the unit of the stress in Newton per meter square or mm square or Pascal, and pressure, if I will say pressure, that is also Newton per meter square or mm square. Now, how come this stress and pressure are different? One is talking about, one is associated with the external force, that means applied force per unit area, another is resisting force per unit area, and the stress basically the resisting force or the resisting force which has come when we have discussed about the equilibrium part. The equilibrium condition in the case of mechanics, wherever we have discussed how these internal forces are coming out, the internal forces, how the internal forces will coming out, and the internal forces are due to the external, due to the application of the external forces, and the resisting force due to the application of external forces, the resisting force or the reactive force are generated within the body, and on the perpendicular area we will talk about the stresses, and that gives rise to the stresses, and that stress has been shown here, and the same thing has been explained, whatever you have discussed, that has been explained, because we have seen in the last slide we have discussed, that means when I am cutting a body by using a knife edge or a imaginary plane, n number of forces are coming out. It may come 1 or n, basically a n number, because wherever the plane is going to crush the material, at every point it is a continuous material, at every point it is going to be under stressed condition, or every point is a continuous, it is a whole continuum, it is going to be generate some kind of stress, and that stress or every point whatever the stresses, it is a resultant effect of that force or resultant the forces which are coming out. We are taking about average stresses here in this particular mechanics of material, we are discussing the overall or average stresses. The force and moment acting on a specified point on the sectional area of a body, which we have shown in the last class, represent the resultant effect of the actual distribution of the forces acting over the sectional area. To obtain the distribution of the internal loading is primary importance in mechanics of material. That means, to obtain the distribution of the internal loading, as I have discussed about the loading distribution, it may be uniform, it may be non-uniform, it may be parallel, or any kind of distribution may be there. According to the distribution, the load pattern will change, or the loading pattern will change, the stress pattern will change, and the material, the kind of material it is discussing, also it will going to change. To solve any kind of problem or to solve the problem, it is necessary to establish the concept of stress. As I said, the concept of stress, which is already shown here, the material I was talking about, the material when it is cutting through by a knife edge, this is the imaginary plane through which it is cutting, and n number of forces are coming out, and that n number of forces I am talking about a small area dA, which has been exaggerated here, that area has been exaggerated here. And on that exaggerated area, these 2-3 forces on a plane, that exaggerated area means this area, if I will talk about, the whole area has been transformed to here, that area has been exaggerated. You can see there are 3 different stresses are going to be generated. First one is called the normal stress, the other 2 as the shear stresses. The normal stress along the x axis, the normal stress along the normal stress here it has been shown, sigma y means along the y axis, and other two are what? Now other 2 are the parallel stresses or parallel forces which are developed along that parallel force. We know what is the shear force. Now parallel force by the parallel area, and parallel area, the parallel area is nothing but this area is the shaded area, and this is, you see here, although it has been said sigma y here, but interestingly here it has been represented as tau yz and tau yx, not sigma. We should write the indices which has been represented. The most important part is the index of the stresses, stress or any when we are writing F1, F2 like Fxs or Fx1 sorry F11, F12 or like that also it can be expressed, but just remember, if I am writing sigma y or if I am writing shear stress or shear strain, we are writing in two form, yz or yx. Then y I have not written sigma yy or sigma xx or sigma xz, y I have not written. I will discuss about that, this index, how the index is going to play the role. Now, the next the consider, as it has been said, the sectional area, already I have discussed the sectional area delta A which has been exaggerated, and delta A, when this delta A to a smaller and smaller size, we must make it assumption regarding the properties of material, or it will give you the limit tends to delta A tends to 0. So, it will give you the stress behavior, or you will find it out. So, the area which has been shown, it is being considered that the material is continuous, that is the consist of continuum or uniform distribution of matter having no voids, as already we have discussed many times, and this is the assumption we have taken initially, and you just remember that. Being composed of finite number of distinct atoms, further the material must be cohesive, that the portion at it connected together rather than having break, cracks, nothing is there. If it is there, then the behavior or the establishment or the relation we are establishing, that is not true. And these relations or these establishments are true when these conditions are there. There is no break, no cracks, no separation, no discontinuity, and they have a cohesiveness, they are bonding with each other very high. So, then only it is true, otherwise not. A typical finite yet very small force delta F acting on the associated area delta A, this force will, like all the other figure, have unit direction, that means not conventional type. It has been shown that small area and this conventional area is going to have, on this conventional area this force will decide the stresses, like the force delta F, it is applied, then this all three directions, these are the forces are going to generated. That means on this delta A, that delta A, this all three forces, because if I will represent the delta F with the force which is having all three direction, having some component, and that component we are representing delta F and delta Y are the tangential to the area, and delta A and delta Fz is normal to the delta A. This is a tangent, this delta F, if you will see the earlier figure, that means here this is the tau xz, this is sigma x, tau xy and tau xz, and this delta A which we have shown initially, the delta A we are talking about, this delta A, whatever the delta A I am saying, this delta A if I am saying it is sigma y, so it is sigma x or it is sigma z, if I am saying in that form, then the slowly this delta x, delta f, and this delta, on this delta A, delta f is applied, and this delta f have three component, one is delta fx, what it has been written, delta fx, delta fy and delta fz. Whereas this delta fx and delta fy are tangential to delta A, where delta fz is normal to delta A. As delta A tends to 0 or near about to 0, that means continuously or coming to a small point, then the force is component in general approach to a finite limit. This quotient is called stress. Stress is also called is a quotient of forces. The stress also a measure of quotient of forces. It describes the intensity of the internal forces. In a single line we can define what is stress. Mathematically we represent the stress is nothing but the internal force or resisting force per unit area, or intensity of forces, intensity of internal forces on specific plane or area passing through a point. That means the delta A which has been taken, it has been so small that it is coming to a small point. So, that is called the stress intensity or sorry load intensity, internal force intensity, and it is represented as in a form of sigma x delta f delta A. That means, when delta A tends to 0, it talks about the stresses, the intensity of force per or force per unit area acting on normal to delta A is defined as the normal stress. Sigma, since delta Fx is normal to area, then it can be represented as this form. If the normal stress pulls the area on delta A, if the normal force with the force is acting, it pulls the body, then it is a tensile force. If it push the body, it is a compressive force or compressive stress. According to the kind of forces, the stresses are named. If the normal force, we have also said discussed regarding the load, normal, shear and all this kind, when there is a compressive force or the force is a normal in nature, or sorry the stress is accordingly the ductile and compressive stress, the tensile stress also sometimes it is called as a ductile stress or ductile load. This is because it is trying to elongate the body, and the compressive, it is trying to compress or bulge the body. So, accordingly it has been shown as the dotted line here in this figure, the dotted line shows how the body is going to elongate. So, according to the elongation, instead of elongation it will, if I will talk about a bulging, the bulging action will be like you can say, if there is a force on a body and it is a compressive force will be a body, then it is going to bulge in this direction, and due to this bulging, instead of elongation is bulging, the compressive stress or the compressive the load which the compressive load is there, and automatically a compressive stress is developing on this plane. This is the plane I am talking about. Okay. Now, the normal stress, similarly the shear stress can be defined, because the shear stress again it is on the shear force and the planes are parallel to each other, and if the planes are parallel, that means the load is parallel to the plane. If the load is parallel to the plane, these are the two cases. X, y, you are applying the load, you see it is, if you will see here interestingly, tau x, y when I am representing, instead in case of in the earlier case when I am showing the normal stress, again you see I have just shown sigma x, I have not written xx or yy like that. In earlier case also I have not shown. Now, when I am showing this tau xy, interestingly I am writing this the indices I am representing here is a shear force kind. You see tau, though I am writing tau xy, the force is when it is tau xy, that end ball, you just see the end ball, end part or end index. End index is y, so I am just utilizing the delta fy. Then area is the same delta A, because it is parallel to that area. Xz, it is Fz. That means what it says, I am the load which is acting on z direction, but I am trying to see the effect in x direction, or it is perpendicular to the x direction. So, what is that, I will come to that just now, no need to, just I am pointing out those points, I will talk about that, the some particular points regarding the index and all this during it is. So, that is why the stresses, what the stresses are called, stresses are not like vectors, are the stresses are vectors or scalar or all this kind, it is a tensor. What is a tensor, I will talk about that little bit on that, I am not going very deeply on that side. So, what is the distinction between the normal and tangential traction or equivalent or direct shear stress, it has been discussed, because direct stress which is due to application of that load what we have discussed, another is a shear stress tend to deform the material without changing its volume, and here tend to change the volume of the material, that means hydrostatic pressure and resisted body bulk modulus, which depends on the Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio, tends to change the volume, another you see tend to change the volume. Second one is tend to deform the material without changing the volume. Shear strain, any kind of distortion occur in the body, it will change the deform means when it deforms, it changes its shape, size, like that it will change, but the volume is constant, the volume is not going to change. However, in case of normal stress, interestingly, however when I am compressing from all the sides, hydrostatic means a condition, hydrostatic pressure or hydrostatic normally we know if in a 2D case if also it is like it is compressed from all the direction or it is stretched from all the direction. Uniformly distributed loads are associated with the body, it will try to pull the body in all the direction, either if there is a change on or it is going to elongate, but the volume is not going to change. How it is possible? It is elongating, but the volume is not changing. It is saying that tend to change the volume of the material, tend to change the volume of material, it is going to change the volume. Volume how? You just see, if I am changing the material volume, so volume is LBH, L cross B plus H, and L is the length, B is the width and H is the height. So, if I am changing, if I am extending in one direction, it is going to squeeze in other direction. If a beam, as earlier example also I have shown, if it is a beam and that beam is going to be deformed, let us say in this direction, if I am deforming this, we can show in this form, rather it will be more easy to understand. Let us say I am having a beam, I am applying a load along the direction of x, and if it is going to elongate in x. So, you see there is a deformation occurs, that means it is lowering in other direction. When it is extending in one direction, it is lowering other direction. The total volume, let us say it is delta L, change in length in along, and this is delta B. If it is the length is L and the width is B. So, delta L and delta B, the change in volume, how the volume changes, but direct stress tends to change the volume, but total straining is not occurs. Why it is not occurs? Because the hydrostatic stresses. What is the hydrostatic stress? Now, it is uniformly tending to either extend or to compress. Wherever in case of shear stress, interestingly, it will without changing the volume, it changes the shape of the material. So, it is resisted by the shear modulus, the modulus which resists the deformation, or that is why it is called the strength of material, or it is called by this way, or by utilizing the mechanics of material we can able, one is a load bearing capacity, one is deformation bearing capability. So, all the mechanical designs, most of the mechanical design or all the mechanical designs are based on the strength design and stiffness design. Strength, when the material is on able to resist the load, it is called load bearing capacity is the strength, and deformation bearing capability is stiffness. Anybody, any material, we have some resistance, every single person having a resistance, and if I let us say if I define in another way, if I will take a egg, most of us we know in our childhood or some magic or something, if you have seen, if I will take a egg and I want to break it from its pole to pole, and I will try to give the load, and it is not going to, I am not easy to break from pole to pole. Why so? What is the theory behind it? Because of its closeness, it is it's a whole volume, or it's the shape is so continuous that if I will push the whole egg by using both the hands, I could not able to break. Initially the pressure, that kind of, that much of pressure, as a small pressure if I will give from the its circumference, I can easily break it. So, one is load bearing capacity, how much load is can able to bear, or it is, that is called the strength of that material. So, load bearing capacity is the strength, and deformation capability, how much it may, as I just now we have discussed, direct stresses tend to change the volume of the material. You just see hydrostatic pressure I am applying. Hydrostatic pressure in case of egg, I cannot do the hydrostatic pressure from the circumferentially, but is by pole to pole if I will give a hydrostatic kind of force, if I am compressing, then it will not break. So, the volume when it is breaks at the point, the volume is going to change and whole structure is going to collapse. So, that is why the volume changes, it is not like that, but just have a look on that in the similar manner. Now, I can give some other example also. Like shear stress tend to deform the material without changing its volume, the volume is not going to change, but it can distort. Then why, how it is possible? It is not always true that the shear stress either the shear stress is come due to the shear forces or mechanical shear forces, or some thermal shear force also can be done. I will give some example, if it is possible I can show you some videos, or some you just see in other examples, physical examples I will try to show. Just now it is not, I will discuss about that. Now, the stress tensor I was talking about very interestingly, the ordinary space, when I am talking about what do we mean by ordinary space, any space when we are defining by 3D, and any ordinary space is called a Euclidean space. Any ordinary space, when I am saying ordinary space, means I am thinking about, or I am talking about any material, it is expressed in terms of x, y and z. That is the perpendicular direction, or any general space is called Euclidean space. Any general space is called Euclidean space. And what does it mean by, as I said, sigma xs, earlier I told I am not writing sigma xx, I am not writing sigma yy. However, I am writing tau xy, tau xz, tau yz. Likewise, many various, when I am talking about the shear stresses or shear stress terms, I am representing in 2 index, but in case of normal stresses or normal strain, I am not representing anything in terms of double index, because as I said earlier it is also stress is a tensor. What does it mean by tensor? You see, any space, when I am saying it is Euclidean space, it has 3 axes. So, it has been written as n is the order of the tensor and can be represented by mentioned as 3 to the power n, 3 means all 3 axes I am talking about, n is the order of tensor. When n is equal to 0, when n is equal to 0, 3 to the power 0 is 1, it is scalar, that means any number, I am talking about any number. Now, if I am saying n is equal to 1, then the next phase it is says n is equal to 1, it is vector, that means force. Vector means scalar is only weight is a scalar or vector, any number which is representing any magnitude or scalar we say, instead we know we represent in terms of what, magnitude or direction. Vector having both magnitude as well as direction, this is all well known to us. Here the magnitude, direction as well as the plane. For the sake of stresses, we need all 3, magnitude. If it is magnitude, then it is a scalar. If it is a magnitude as well as the direction, it will be a vector. If I need a magnitude, direction as well as a plane to develop or to derive a stress or to express the stresses, we need a plane. And this is the basic dyadics 3 to the power n, and stress is a second order tensor. And tensor, basically tensor allows or tensor obeys most of the vector rules, not all the vector rules. Tensor has its own rules as well as like as vector. Vector multiplication, vector addition, subtraction, likewise tensor has its own rule to added or subtracted or multiplied. However, most of the cases it obeys the vector part, and interestingly the that part, the part I am talking about, that part is sigma xx. When I am saying when there is a repetitive index are there, it is allows to write only 1. If the here the index are not repetitive, what this intends to say, this repetitive index, I am applying the load in x and I am trying to see the effect in x, or I can say I am applying the load in x and the perpendicular of the load, or the load is perpendicular to the plane x. One is representing the direction you want to find out the effect, and other is showing the perpendicular direction, or in other way for the easy sake understanding you can say this. That means if I am applying the load in one direction, I want to see the effect in that direction and the other direction, accordingly we can represent the these indexes can be represented, and when these two are same, it can be represented by one index. Is that clear? Now, next term, similarly the same case, in a case of shear, it is talking about the rotation kind. That means if I am applying in one plane, I am just rotating in other plane, or in other, that means in x is perpendicular to y, x and y are perpendicular to each other. If x and y are perpendicular to each other, I am applying the load in x and I am trying to find in effect in z. So, it is sorry, find the effect in y. So, accordingly x z y z or y x y z, likewise it will change. So, this shear stresses I will also discuss one small class will be discussed on the shear stresses, the complementary shear stresses and what is complementary shear stresses, and all these things will be discussed. Most of the engineering study done in dyadics, most of the engineering study, as I said, the basic, the first one is the dyadics, and the last one tetradics. It will be seen this 81 tetradics or 81 constant for anisotropic materials. We do not use this or although we have anisotropic materials and 81 tetradics, but study has been imposed some condition to reduce the number of unknowns. Accordingly, according to the material, this number is increases, and this is the maximum is 81 for anisotropic material, and it will be it can be reduced further by imposing some kind of condition to have a number of unknowns or the low number of unknowns to have a better or easy mathematical expression. Analysis of stress strain, concept of stress, as we know there are various why it is necessary to analyze, as we know in mechanical engineering there are various conditions are there to know about the stresses. If I am changing the material, if I am using a iron or steel rod instead of if I use a plastic rod, the same rod cannot implement or cannot utilize for the same kind of purpose, or the purpose, if the purpose changes, we can you might have some idea like light post. If you will go on the road, you can see there are various light posts, and different light post has a different kind of shapes. Is the shapes only decides its aesthetics? If it is a metallic kind of pole, or if it is a concrete pole, or if it is a lightweight pole, if you will see all these lamp post or lamp poles or light poles having different material with a different kind of shapes with a different kind of properties. So, based on the materials their shapes has been different. We will discuss about all these shapes, how shapes comes in the picture. So, similarly, if I talk about a truck, the shape of the truck and the shape of the service condition of a truck is not same as in a car. Sometimes the car cost is very higher. If I will talk about the huge cost of, like if I will go for Mercedes car and our normal Indian trucks, Mercedes car is twice or thrice or sometime it is double of the cost of a bus. Then what is the extra on that? Extra is only for your life. What is that our life means when I am saying service cost or service that cost will be high based on the safety. If I am increasing the safety part, so I am increasing the cost of that, because human cost or safety cost is more than the other things. The concept of stresses, let us introduce the concept of stress. As we know, the main problem of engineering mechanics of material is the investigation of internal resistance, as already we have discussed. So, those this internal resistance may develop due to the following reasons: the externally applied all these conditions, due to the service condition, due to the environmental condition. If we are staying at, let us say, why you may ask, sir, what is the due to the environmental which its components, which the component works. Let us say I bought a car at Rourkela or some place of the eastern India, and the eastern India temperature, normal temperature of the car or the normal temperature of the environment is near about 30 or 32 degrees centigrade. In normal days it is 27 to 30, normally it is 27 to 30. And in the summer it goes up to 35, or like if you will 35 to maximum 41 degrees centigrade. If I will now go to the north, the same temperature is maybe sometime 45, sometime 47. In eastern India also some places are, it is very hard, the temperature is very hard. That means the material which is working here at a temperature of 27 to 30 degree in a normal days, the same material might have a lower temperature, or if I will go to Kashmir also, the temperature is too less, in case of your cold days if you will go, it is sometime minus. Is it going to work on that, and the material is going to affected? Yes, how much it is going to affected? Those point has to be taken care before. Now, what should be the range of temperature? What should be the range of temperature when I am saying the delta T, the initial temperature to the final temperature, there should be a range of temperature to 20 to 25 degree centigrade if there is, or 20 to 25 degree if the range of temperature, it can vary, or if it varies, then the material can resist. Through contact and other members, when there is a I am just designing a rod. Let us say if I am in a whole car, there are various parts are there. That means, if I am talking about the wheel is the bearing associated with the axle. So, axle, bearing, shaft, all these combination are there. So, one is contacted over other. So, due to the contact, some contact stress may develop. Due to fluid pressure within the pipe, fluid passes through. So, that can create something. Due to gravity or inertia, like that, all this condition may create some kind of, or due to those external loading, some internal resistance force may generate. Due to the internal resistance force, there is internal stress will, or the stress will develop due to the resisting force per unit area. Once the resisting force per unit area stress is developed, so we need to calculate that. If the stress will be calculated, due to the stress there will be strain. Either I can calculate the strain and the back substitute to find the stresses, or I can find the stress, then corresponding strain also can be found out. So, these are the some points as just now we have discussed. I will not go much, those whatever the things I have discussed, that has been clearly pointed out in some points, and you can also see the similar kind of expressions or explanations also it is available in NPTEL. You can also take this notes also as a part of that NPTEL also you can follow to similar kind of explanations. Now, these forces, whatever the points I have discussed just now, you see I have taken a normal force, normal for the calculation of the normal force or normal stress. I have taken a XX imaginary plane. That imaginary plane is cutting the body into two halves, and due to the cutting of the body, due to the application of the load, you see the application of the load P at the left as well as the right, and due to this application of the forces, these forces are the resisting force or the equilibrium forces, because we initially took all the materials are in equilibrium in the mechanics of solids. If it is equilibrium, so automatically to equalize this force and the cutting force which is going through this, it has to be equalized, and some forces along this line has been generated. And the force intensity, we know this force intensity at this stage will gives rise to the stress. So, and where A is the cross sectional area, the shaded area which we have already discussed, I need not to discuss much on that. The assumption that total load carried by the rectangular bar is uniformly distributed over the cross section, then only we can represent this, otherwise there will be some change, and sometime the forces can be represented either in terms of delta P or delta load, as I said initially, load or force. So, most of the time we took load and force are same, equal, not much difference to that. So, that is why either it is delta F by delta A or delta P by delta A can be represented, and the mathematical expression again the same, and the basic units again as I said earlier, it is Newton per meter square, either it is megapascal, gigapascal, kilopascal and Newton per mm square Pascal. All these points can be discussed here. These are the internal system or international system of units we are using, and I think that is clear what is normal, what is stress, how the stress is nothing but the quotient of the forces or intensity of the forces, and the stress can be classified based on the type of loads, and the force or the stresses also can be classified according to the load kind. It is a normal load or a parallel load. If it is a normal load, it creates a normal stress. If it is a parallel load, it creates a shear stress, and normal load, when there is a normal load or a direct stress, also it is classified as a direct stress and shear stress. Direct stress does not change the volume, direct stress change the volume without straining the body, whereas In the other case, due to that we need hydrostatic without straining, but the volume changes. So, or without the strain is throughout the uniform. So, the strain, the change in strain or change in length will nullify in that. That is why we are saying there is no strain, whereas in case of shear strain it creates the strain, but volume does not change. So, type of stresses, as already I have discussed, this normal stress and shear stress, the same thing what we have discussed earlier, this the same thing has been represented more elaborately, has been discussed how the shear stress and most of the some points of the application of the stresses has been shown here. The other stresses either are similar to the basic stresses, or a combination of the as the load has combined. So, stress can be combined, the stresses can be bending stress or combination of tensile and compressive stress, both can be there, and both always there is a bending stress is a combination of both tensile and compressive, and which part is bending which part is the tensile and which part is compressive when we will come to the or this within the bending, when there is a beam under bending condition, it associated with all kind of stresses. That means there will be tensile stress, compressive stress and shear stress. So, which part is more dominating, we are going to find it out. Similarly, in the torsional case only the majority, the shear stress is going to, or there may be a combination of both shear and in bending, both torsion and bending can be there in a particular design. In mechanical we are differently studying bending, we are differently studying torsional, then we are studying both bending and torsion case in a particular material or a particular subject or particular component of the mechanical component. Then what to happen? We will analyze all different in different section of the our mechanics of material course. And normal stresses, and I do not want to discuss, I think I should say it is already the force per unit area which I have already discussed, that is more clearly has been written or more clearly has given some kind of expression for the literal expression for what are the stresses or the type of stresses we have discussed, and how to represent these stresses. This is a biaxial state of stress and triaxial state of stress. One is biaxial state of stress when one of the, what do you mean by again biaxial state of stress? It is plane stress, plane strain when will come, we will discuss about that. If there is a load, if any object exists in this world is 3 dimensional in nature, if it is 3 dimensional in nature, the load is applied, it is automatically have 3 component. If it has 3 component, it will have 3 different stresses, and that which stress is more prominent, accordingly we can go for 1D, 2D or 3D. In our particular this study will subject maximum, we will go for, in the maximum cases, most of the cases we will go for 1D cases, in one case or 2 cases we will discuss about the 2D cases, and 3D for the sake of completeness of this analysis or completeness of the idea we will talk about the 3D, otherwise we will nowhere discuss about the 3D within this course. It has no scope on the 3D part. Tensile compressive, according to the force, again the stresses are discussed as the tensile or compressive according to the elongation or bulging. So, based on that it will be discussed tensile stress or compressive stress. One is bearing stress, if one object is another object and it is creating some stress on that, and the body which bears that load is and it is a creative compressive kind of soil. On the soil, always the soil is under the foundation is under compressive loading, because it bears the whole structural strength on it. So, it is compressive. So, that is what it has been showing the bearing stress. Any civil analysis has to or any foundation kind of analysis in mechanical, you may ask if is there any discussion of the bearing stress. Any flight any flight, if I will say space flights, and particularly the space flight, all the space flights based on they are using some flight station as we have Sriharikota flight station, they have some foundation on which they do all these exercises, and that has to be elastic enough to give the thrust to have a exact what it needs, or what kind of force exact escape velocity they need, or lower the escape velocity they need, if it is within the orbit or outside the orbit, or within the atmosphere or the outside the atmosphere. According to their calculation, they need some kind of foundation, and how much stiffness it should give, or if I am wearing a shoe and it creates some pressure zone below my shoes, below my toes, or my toes are under pressure. So, also it is based on my, when we are designing some kind of shoes, also at that time the resistance, that means if, should I go for a morning walk in a what kind of place, what should be the resistance of that ground. Also at that time the bearing stress, how much my soft tissue able to bear the stresses, based on the material will be selected. The material selection based on the bearing stresses also necessary, not only in case of civil, but not only in case of mechanical, not only in case of biomedical. All this different area, they have different material and they have different concept to decide. And shear stresses I no need to discuss again, and it is already shown here. According to this figure, it is clear that this figure clearly showing how this is parallel to this part, to the surface, and based on that we can say how the stresses or the shear stresses are going to develop. Again the shear stresses, the expressions are as same as the earlier case, and it is represented by a tau, and the forces, instead of the forces, are the normal force. This force is basically this force is the parallel force. And some kind of representation of where the shear stresses occurs, this is a riveted joint. 2-3 cases of the riveted joint has been shown. If you have seen any rivets or rivets, you can see the rivet kind of things in shoes. In shoes also shoes means, when I am saying some kind of rivet, also you can see the riveted joint in any if you are passing through any bridges. Bridges means, in particular the bridges kind, these are two head, these are the two heads of the rivet, or sometime if you might have only one head, or only one head means this kind of, this is called rivet head, and this rivet head is, there is a shearing action occurs. The cross sectional part, if I say the cross sectional part will, this cross section will shear up. This is the shank of the river. From the shank of the river, this is the shank of the river, and this is the cross section, it will shear up, sheared out from there. And if it is two head, this is called two head, it is called lap. One plate is over another plate, so it is a lapping joint, and this is called butt joints. And according to the number of shear faces will increase. So, shear stress values will increase. This is shear, as I said, the riveted joint, if you want to see, you can see any railway bridges, the corner of the railway bridges with a triangular clamp like that, and the riveted joints or rivets can be seen very easily there. So, the internal distributed force system, internally distributed force system, just now whatever we have shown there, it is more easily, or to have a better understanding, a object which has been shown, it has been caught by two different pieces in a 3D form, it has been shown. A single point is the number of forces, either all these forces will come out from every point, or a single point it has been shown. To have a better clarity on that, if this is the point F A, this is the point, and on this point these are the points is associated, the shear stresses will increase, or the stresses will, forces will coming out, that has been normalized, or all these forces will be counted here and this half has been shown here, and this part, this part has been shown. These forces, all these forces are in a different plane, or in different direction. I am talking about only the point A. If the point A, these are the forces, it is F A is coming out, it has two component, one is normal and one is parallel, which has been shown here, it is parallel and this is normal. Then how to the internal force system can be discussed. So, all this whatever we have started with the two halves of a body, then immediately that is represented here, and we can literally write down or literally discuss some few points on the stresses. The intensity of internal distributed forces on an imaginary surface of a body is called the stress of a surface. because the surface which is the cause, which is creates the stress or which is makes the body into two half. The surface, the imaginary surface which help us to find out a internal point. On that internal point basically we have some forces are coming out. Now, the intensity of internal distributed forces on an imaginary surface of a body is called the stress on a surface. The intensity of internal distributed force that is normal to the surface of an imaginary cot is called normal stress on the surface. The intensity of internal distributed forces that is parallel to the surface is called the shear stress again. And what is the difference between these two? The first line, the intensity of internally distributed force on an imaginary surface of a body called stress on a surface. The intensity of internal distributed force that is normal to the imaginary surface. You see, one case is normal to the imaginary, one is the surface, one is the forces which are going to the surface which are going to due to the cutting at the time of cutting, on the surface also some stresses may develop, and the stresses which are on the cutting surface if it develops, then it is stress on that surface. But on that body which is going to cut, it is creating a normal stress and a shear stress. Is that clear? Now, if well represented in other form, relating the stress and external force and moments, it can be represented, it can be easily represented, because due to the external force some internal forces created, and due to the internal forces created means internal forces for the resistance or for the equilibrium, and from the equilibrium we get the stresses. That means external force will be applied, then the internal force will be developed, and due to the internal force on the area it will develop some stress. So, that has been shown here, it has been this is equilibrium. For the equilibrium, for the sake of equilibrium, when there is a external force or moments, there will be internal forces and moments will generate. If the internal force and moments will be generated, then when I will make it static equilibrium or equivalence, so I will put all the forces and moments are 0 on some area, so it will gives rise to stress. That stress may be normal, that stress may be shear, that stress may be normal, shear, and all kind of stresses might be there, both kind or one kind can be there, and that is an equilibrium. During the process of equilibrium both kind will come into the picture, it is not one kind. So, by that I am stopping here and closing here. We will discuss about the strain and some part of the stresses if it is necessary in our next class, and thank you.